Hey guys, my name is Matimo, and today I have a Sunday mailbox for you guys, and this is a series I do on my channel where you guys submit me questions and then I give my opinion on those questions. And if you would like to submit your own question, you can do so by sending a YouTube message to me with the title line Q&A, and it could potentially be featured in an upcoming episode. So the first question is, what are your thoughts on the Close Quarter DLC? Many people disregard the notion of more small infantry maps, and some even accuse Battlefield 3 of turning into Call of Duty. Do you agree? Do you think DICE, although a lot of people like infantry maps, should stick to big, open maps that suppose veterans and die-hard fans want? Is Battlefield 3 all about strategic vehicle team play in large battlefields, or can this tactical and cooperative playstyle that Battlefield is renowned for be taken and appropriately put into a tight, intense, close-quarter map? So there's a bunch of questions in here, but the first one is, do I think that Battlefield 3 is turning into Call of Duty? And the short answer to this would have to be no. I really don't think that the Battlefield series is trying to be Call of Duty. What they're trying to do is to bring over players that normally wouldn't play Battlefield to now try it out and hopefully get hooked and continue playing. I can see why a lot of players would accuse DICE of trying to make it more Call of Duty-like, because you have close quarter maps which resemble, the renowned close quarter combat of the Call of Duty series, which a lot of people really enjoy. They also accuse DICE of making the damage model a lot higher for Battlefield 3, which resembles the Call of Duty damage model as well. But you have to remember that first-person shooters are first-person shooters, and there isn't a lot to distinguish yourself between the two genres. I mean, you both shoot weapons, and you both kill people really fast. That's a first-person shooter. But you have to remember there's a lot of things that distinguish the games in general. I mean, you don't have classes in Call of Duty. You have roles in Battlefield 3. You also don't have vehicle combat, which is huge in the Battlefield series. And I know that in the DLC there is not going to be vehicle combat, but there is a lot of people that just don't enjoy vehicle combat. So you have two different crowds here, and they're trying to please everyone, and when you try to please everyone, you're going to upset some people, and that's going to result in some people making these accusations. So yeah, I don't think that Battlefield 3 is turning into Call of Duty. I just think that DICE is trying to make maps that appeal to a larger audience, and they're trying to get more of the Call of Duty players to try out Battlefield 3 and then hopefully stick with it and then buy more of their future products. I mean, DICE is a business, and so is EA, and they want to increase their player base so that, of course, they get more revenue as well. And also, I forgot destruction. Call of Duty does not have destruction, and if you take a look at any of the screenshots from the upcoming DLC, you'll see that there is just a ridiculous amount of destruction in these small close-quarter maps. So I'm excited to see how Battlefield 3 operates and plays out for these close-quarter maps, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I don't think a lot of players need to worry. So you have another question in here, is do I think that DICE should only stick with big open maps that supposed veterans and diehard fans want? And I kind of already covered this, and also I don't think that is true as well. I think that DICE should have close quarter maps and also large maps as well. They're trying to increase their player base so that they can get more money and more revenue and just more people playing their game. And if you only stick with one aspect of that, you're going to basically exclude other player bases that will not even try your game because it doesn't have the type of gameplay that they're looking for. So also, this DLC, while it annoyed people that it was only close quarter maps, they're also going to have really large maps in the next DLC, and we're not even sure what the third DLC, which is even further out, sometime in, I think, winter of 2012, we don't even know what kind of maps are going to be in that. So it just kind of looks like DICE is trying to cater to everyone's playstyle. They're going to have the close quarter maps, they're going to have the really large maps, so no matter what type of player you are going to be satisfied with the upcoming DLCs. You're going to have something to play and something to enjoy. So your final question is, do I think that Battlefield 3 is going to work in these close quarter maps? And I would have to say that, yeah, I really do think it will. I've been playing a lot of competitive matches on Operation Metro and Grand Bazaar, which are arguably maps that were created by DICE to cater to the Call of Duty series. And when you're playing these maps with a bunch of friends, or playing on servers that only allow 16 players, these maps become a lot of fun. They don't become like Operation Metro where it's just grenade spam, RPG spam, but it's very tactical. You have to move around the map strategically, and it is an absolute blast. And I can see where having the Battlefield series with their, the destruction, you're going to have to play with your teammates, you're going to have to use kits appropriately. It's going to add a lot of dynamics that I don't think the Call of Duty series has, and I think it's going to absolutely excel on these maps. So I'm really looking forward to this DLC. Initially, I was a little disappointed to see that there wasn't going to be any large maps for the first DLC that we're going to get, but of course, like I said, we're going to get that in the next one, so you just have to wait a little longer. Alright, so I'm going to answer one more question, and it is, what do you think about a hardcore destruction mode? Since server options are soon coming to consoles, it would be great to have the option for all buildings to be completely destroyed and collapsed. I love how in Bad Company 2 the map started fresh, but by the end of the match all of the buildings were destroyed. I think it would add a lot more strategy to the matches, be more fun, eliminate campers, and just look awesome in the Frostbite 2 engine. There would need to be more map balancing vehicle-wise, but it would be great to be able to destroy the 20-story buildings, cranes, warehouses, etc. So this is an interesting idea. I just don't think that DICE would actually implement this kind of mode, or even if I think their engine could handle it, but some of the maps I just don't think they would lend themselves to it, or they haven't even programmed it. But I know that DICE has said that the reason why they don't have full destruction on a lot of the vanilla maps is because that would just completely change the dynamic of a match and of that map in general. So if you go into Operation Metro and you take out a couple of those pillars and you just destroy the left side of the tunnel, it would completely change the way that the match plays out, and it probably would ruin the game for a lot of players, or at least for that particular match. And so I can see why DICE didn't do that, but there's a lot of cases on, let's say like Caspian Border or Operation Firestorm. Yeah, you can kind of take out the sides of the buildings, which is really nice, but you're right, there really isn't full destruction like we saw in Bad Company 2. But now we kind of transition on over into the Back to Karkin expansion pack, and we see a lot more destruction. A lot more destruction. You can take out buildings completely in the Karkin maps, Gulf of Oman. You can't take out the large skyscrapers, but you can still punch holes in them. You can jump into the little cubby that you just created and snipe from them. So there's just a lot more destruction for that DLC. And if we look into the future now towards the Close Quarter Combat DLC, we'll notice that from the small amount of pictures that we've seen, the destruction on those maps are going to be absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, it's disappointing that there isn't a lot of full-on destruction in Battlefield 3, at least for the vanilla maps, but I don't really think that DICE is going to change that, and I don't think that they're going to have a mode that allows that to happen. I just don't think they've programmed those maps to even allow for that. So it would be kind of cool, but I just don't think it's necessary, and like I said, it would completely change the dynamic of those maps in general, and it may not even be balanced. It probably isn't going to even be balanced. But for future DLCs, I think the future is bright for full-on destruction. DICE has kind of shown that that is where they're heading, and they're really trying to emphasize the power of their Frostbite 2 engine. So I am definitely looking forward to the future DLCs and what kind of destruction they are going to bring to the table. So that's it for the questions for today. I hope you enjoyed, and if you would like to submit your own question, like I said, you can send me a YouTube message with the title line Q&A. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel for more videos. But until next time, guys, have a good one and take it easy.